Okay, what is going on with these last 2 weeks? It's just been crazy in the NFL, and I don't mean that in a good way. Let's talk about week 4. What's going on, guys? Duke Support here, back to another video. Today we are talking about the games going into week 4. And seriously, with how the last 2 weeks have been, probably more unexpected things are going to happen. Let's talk about them. Alright, the Thursday night matchup is going to be Dallas taking on the Giants. Did New York struggle against the Cowboys last year? Well, that's an understatement. First game was 40-0. Second matchup, 49-17. They got outscored 89-17 in 2 matchups. Now, the good news for the Giants is Daniel Jones has had back-to-back quality starts, and the Giants picked up their first win last week. For the Cowboys, they're coming off back-to-back losses and an almost comeback against the Ravens. If it wasn't for Lamar Jackson pulling off a very good fake jet sweep, they probably would have won that game. No, probably, they would have won that game. As for this one, I say they get back in the win column. Give me them over the Giants. Saints taking on the Falcons. For the Saints, they may be coming off a loss to the Eagles, but we found out 2 things about them. One, they are definitely for real. They were in that game till the very end. It just so happened the Eagles had the final big play that sealed the deal. 2, they're going to be in every single game if their defense plays like they did last week. Meanwhile, for the Falcons, another team getting screwed by the refs, facing off against the Chiefs. Where have we seen that before? Look, the Falcons can be a really good team this year. They just have to put it together. We've seen it in spurts. Now let's see if they can really put it together as the season goes on. As for this game, I'm going to go with the Saints. Cincinnati taking on Carolina. Okay, I'll admit, I was wrong. Andy Dalton had a great game last week, and Carolina picked up their first win of the season. Now let's see if he can do it in back-to-back weeks. For Cincinnati, I don't think anybody saw them going 0-3 to start the season, but I don't think they're going to go 0-4. Give me them over the Panthers. Rams taking on the Bears. For the Bears, Caleb Williams did some good and some bad last week. He had over 300 yards and 2 touchdown passes, but he also turned the ball over 3 times against the Colts. For the Rams, my goodness, what an amazing comeback against the 49ers. I did not think they were going to win that game, and yet they did, even being down some players. Give me the Rams over the Bears in this matchup. Vikings taking on the Packers. For the Packers, Malik Willis, back-to-back weeks of playing solid football, and the Packers coming out victorious. Packers, they're really doing well in Jordan Love's absence and really setting themselves up for when he gets back. And for the Vikings, what the heck is going on with this team? Sam Darnold is looking like the player that the Jets thought they were going to get when they selected him 3rd overall. He's playing really good football. This goes against my better judgment, but I'm going to go with them over the Packers. Jaguars taking on the Texans. For the Texans, I mean, that's a tough loss against the Vikings. It really was. However, not as bad as the Jaguars Monday night against the Bills. That was rough for this team. They just do not look good at all. Give me the Texans. Steelers taking on the Colts. For the Steelers, that defense is going to keep them in every single game in the offense. Just get a big play when you need to and take care of the football. That's all that they have to do. For the Colts, Anthony Richardson, you're going to take the good along with the bad, and hopefully he can do more of the good as time goes on. As for this game, give me the Steelers. Broncos taking on the Jets. For Denver, they simplified the game plan for Bo Nix. They took pressure off of him, and that led them to getting their first win against the Buccaneers. And they won that game 26-7. So for the Broncos, they can keep that up. They could have a very solid season. Meanwhile, for the Jets, Aaron Rodgers and that team just looked very good Thursday night against the Patriots. Just got revenge for what the Patriots have been doing to them for over 2 decades now. I'm going to go with them over the Broncos. Philadelphia taking on Tampa Bay. For Philadelphia, that defense just played an amazing game last week against the Saints. The Saints were the top offense going into that game, and they held them to 12 points. For Tampa Bay, it was rough against the Broncos, but I still feel like they are the team to beat in the NFC South. However, I do see them taking the loss here. Give me the Eagles. Washington taking on Arizona. These are two teams I don't think people thought were going to be as good as they had been early in the season. Jane Daniels just looks like the best quarterback from the draft class so far. He had an amazing performance Monday night. I mean, you're talking about a game where there were no punts and no turnovers. You never see that. In fact, that was the first time that had happened since 1940. And Daniels is just playing very good for the Washington Commanders. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, Kyler Murray is back, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is proving why he was drafted 4th overall. And the Cardinals themselves, they are just playing very good football. I told you they could be a surprise team going into the season. And as close as this is, I gotta go with the home team, because when there's a tie, I go with the home team. Patriots taking on the 49ers. For the 49ers, it was rough last week. They dropped to 1-2, and they lost Javon Hargrave for the rest of the season. For the Patriots, it was not good for them either. They only scored 3 points against the Jets, a team that they had dominated for over 2 decades. I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one. Kansas City taking on the Chargers. For Kansas City, referees, can you please stop helping out the Chiefs? They do not need it. They are already the best team in the NFL. You do not need to help them out anymore. You don't have to. You don't. And for the Chargers, potentially without Herbert, Bosa, Joe Alt, and now Derwin James. Derwin James is suspended for a game. He's going to appeal. We'll see if he wins that. I got to go with Kansas City on this one. Cleveland taking on the Raiders. Raiders, you lost to Carolina. Need I say more? Yeah, rough week for them. Cleveland, so far, rough season for you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Cleveland right now. Last week against the Giants, Daniel Jones just had his way with the defense, and that's the biggest shock to it. The fact that Daniel Jones was able to do some damage against this Browns defense. I just did not see that coming. For this game, I'm going to go with Cleveland on this one. Both these teams, they got to turn it around quickly. Buffalo taking on Baltimore. The Sunday night game, Buffalo, they just look like the best team not named the Kansas City Chiefs right now. They are flying on all cylinders, and now they're going to travel to the Ravens, who almost blew another big lead against the Cowboys last week. If it was for Lamar Jackson, they would have lost that game. And they're going to drop to 1-3. Give me the Bills. Titans taking on the Dolphins. For the Dolphins, it's just been rough without Tua Tagovailoa, and we have no idea if he's going to play in the NFL ever again, let alone this year ever again. And for the Titans, well, they had a great opening drive, and then the Packers dominated right after that. But I'm going with them over the Dolphins. And our second Monday night game, yes, I do not know why we have back-to-back weeks with 2 Monday night games. Seattle, Detroit. Detroit, they got back in the win column last week with their win over the Cardinals, but I still feel like they haven't really hit their stride just yet. Meanwhile, for the Seahawks, they are 3-0. They are doing really well, and I'm going to pick them over the Lions. Okay, guys, those were my picks going into Week 4. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. As always, I'll see you guys next time.